Welcome to our series special, a unique segment of Narratives and Nightcaps, the book club podcast, where we dive into the details of a book series, pair it with a nightcap, and leave a book review. I'm Jordan.
I'm Emily.
Megan.
And I'm Bree.
There you go. Okay.
I feel like I forget the order when we do this. Like, I remember for the recaps, but I don't remember for the series. Sorry.
I feel like we're all like trying to give each other the eyes, like you next, me next, but like it's hard because I'm sure we're all in different orders on our screens.
Yes.
Also true. But you know what? We make it work. We make it work. And we're going to talk about what worked and didn't work in book 3 of American Royals.
Good segue. Good segue.
So yes, listener, if you've been keeping up, we are going through the American Royals series by Katharine McGee. And this month we are covering book 3, Rivals. So I don't know if we want to just dive into initial thoughts first. Emily, do you want to introduce our pairing real quick first, and then we'll kind of go into our thoughts for the book?
Sure. So for this book, I paired this with Princess's Sparkling Wine by All Kings Winery in California. I thought it was only fitting because, if anything, this book is overflowing with princess rivalries right and left. I also promise this wine is way more sparkling than Jeff's personality. It's a low bar, but still I needed something to like get me through this. So
just about anything would be more sparkling. Sorry. Did I say that out loud?
Okay, good. So it's crisp citrus notes, kind of mirror the sharp betrayals and shifting alliances that we see in the royal court. We also are introduced, as we'll talk about, I'm sure, to the global stage of the royal families there. But Bubbles are also kind of playful, which I think captures the chaos of Nina and Daphne's like friends, not friends, friends, not friends, goes back and forth. So. The elegant finish finally on this wine really evokes for me Louise's Jackie Kennedy. I thought she was a little Jackie Kennedy in this book, kind of poise. And it was something like the book that, kept me entertained throughout. So cheers.
Cheers. I like the Jackie Kennedy connection. I would not have thought of that, but you know what? It works. I like it.
With a little bit of chaos.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of the chaos, I want to hear thoughts, but I will dive into the setup real quick, and then I'll just go ahead and ask you ladies for your thoughts. So here is the setup, listener, for American Royals 3 Rivals. Beatrice is queen, and for the American royal family, everything is about to change. Relationships will be tested. Princess Samantha is in love with Lord Marshal Davis, but the more serious they get, the more complicated things become. Is Sam destined to repeat her string of broken relationships? And this time, will the broken heart be her own? Strangers will become friends. Beatrice is representing America at the greatest convocation of kings and queens in the world. Where she meets a glamorous foreign princess, she gets drawn into the inner circle. But at what cost? And rivals will become allies. Nina and Daphne have spent years competing for Prince Jefferson. Now they have something in common. They both want to take down manipulative Lady Gabriella Madison. Can these enemies join forces, or will old rivalries stand in the way? Courtesy of Storygraph, by the way. Thank you so much for that summary. Let's hear some initial thoughts. Emily, do you want to kick us off? What did you think of this one?
I have so many thoughts. I listened to this on the audiobook. So I was looking, as I was listening to it, I took notes in the notes app. So it's actually been kind of funny going back through my one-liner reactions at certain points of the audiobook. So I was highly entertained. I will say that. I think I felt in this book that we kind of went 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, 1 step forward. We went backwards.
1 or 2 steps sideways in there too.
Yeah, a bit more than I thought. My big question is, where the hell is Ethan? That just completely fell off.
Was he nowhere to be found? The entire book?
The entire book. And I kept thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to ask you ladies, like, where the hell is Ethan? And I will have missed some tidbit in book 2. But no, he just
Poof.
alien
I
abduction? I don't
did
know.
he well, I felt like it said he was doing something abroad. Like I feel like that's all that was stated super
That,
briefly, like
yeah.
one sentence.
There
It
might have
was.
been
And
a
then it
sentence
just
or two like that
faded
in there,
into
yeah.
the mist.
Literally one sentence. I say literally because I also audiobooked it, so I don't actually know. But yeah, one sentence, and I was pretty disappointed in that because I liked his storyline.
Well, and I feel like based on our predictions last book, I was like, hell yeah, Ethan, this is your novel. This is the time
This
where
is your
you are
moment,
it.
man.
Yeah.
I know.
And so I was left without an Ethan. I didn't know really how I felt about Daphne and Nina becoming friends. I kind of liked it, but then I didn't. I did feel the whole time, and I know we'll get into some of this, that Nina and Daphne felt like they were playing checkers while Gabriella was playing like master chess the entire time of this book. She
A little
would
bit.
dance circles around them. So, and then I think the Sam and Marshall, this one, I loved them together. I think y'all know how much I loved them together. I picked Orange Wine because I love the Duke of Orange so much for book 2.
Yeah.
But then there was their conflict this book. I was not happy about that conflict for this book.
Not happy about it because of the way that it went, not happy about it because it wasn't believable.
It felt a little unbelievable to me, just a little manufactured, because they do, like, at the end, we see how much they really do care for each other. I mean, Sam
Yes.
makes a big gesture, right, and at the end. And so that I don't know, ruffled my feathers, if you will, while I was listening to it. So I didn't love this one as much as I liked the other ones. I don't know if that's a hot take, but it was a bit, I'm now really curious, morbidly curious. I'm not really sure how to put the adjectives there, for what we're going to see in the next book. Because I thought after our predictions of book 2 that we were like kind of heading in a direction, and I think I was on the wrong road when I went into this book.
I don't know if anybody else had that feeling, but I certainly did.
Yeah. It's like, wow, I've missed the car completely.
Yep.
Well,
Nope.
I feel like, and maybe this is just me, maybe it's everybody else. I feel like I'm on a road that repeats. Like, it's just, have you guys seen, this is a totally random connection that actually doesn't make any sense, but in my head, have you guys seen the show From? I think it's called From. It's on like MGM's version of streaming. Okay. Well, basically, the setup of that story is like they keep taking like the same road over and over and over again. Like they keep coming to the same tree that's down and they can't actually get out. And that's how I feel about this book. It's just very redundant.
Yeah. Do you want to add any more thoughts, Brie, or should I move on to Megan?
Oh God.
No, I think Emily, like a lot of what you said, I would say I was probably on the same page as you with that. I did just a comment that I thought was like kind of funny, but very spot on that I saw on Goodreads because I was curious as to how other readers were interpreting this, how they were vibing with it. And I saw someone say, and I apologize that I can't specifically call this person out, but they were like, this is a CW series from the 2000s.
Yes.
And I was like,
someone said it.
yeah,
Finally.
I was like, that's it. That's all. That's truly all you need to know. And read it. Honestly, that can mean a lot of really good things and a lot of not so great things because
Depends on you and who
as
you
someone
are.
who loved the CW, like it's totally good. But I felt like that just totally encompassed like what we've been reading. And as we know with a lot of those series that those beloved series that we used to watch, it's often like the same story over and over again, but just a little bit differently. So there's one other thing I don't want to touch on yet because I think we're going to get to it. That was at the very end of the book that I didn't see it coming and I didn't like it when it happened.
Okay.
Okay.
We're gonna get there.
Good to know.
What about you, Megan? Please share your thoughts.
Certainly echoing what everyone else has said. I also feel like for a book titled Rivals, where's the fucking rivalry? Like, it's Daphne and Gabrielle. Like, that is, I'm sorry, but that is like the most low tier rivalry of this. Like, to name an entire novel after that. Like, I thought it was going to be what we predicted with, Sam and Beatrice, like a rivalry for like kind of spotlight, or like, who's the favored princess queen, or even like Daphne and Louise, and that turned out to actually just be a friendship. So like for the whole novel to be called Rivals, and it's this very low tier, don't really care about them people to be the rivals, I'm a little bit let down.
Okay. No, and that's solid. Go ahead, Emily.
That was with my comment with like Ethan. I thought the rivals would honestly be Jeff and Ethan,
Yes,
and
there you
Nina
go.
and Daphne in this like Foursquare rivalry / love
There's your
square.
CW show.
Please.
Yes.
Like
But
that's
please,
what I
why
thought
not?
it was going to be. Was like Nina versus
And
Daphne
again,
and Ethan and
Ethan
Jeff,
was nowhere.
but
I
Ethan like I don't know where he went.
Also, not to totally jump ahead, but we know this is a spoiler friendly episode. But the fact to all of that, the rival, yes, I just need to say this. But also, we've been having this entire storyline about like a woman in power and a woman on the throne, and this is the first one, only for us to this put Jefferson basically like pseudo. I was like,
Yes.
are you? And I
because
not
they
even
couldn't get a hold of Sam.
because they couldn't get a hold of Sam, and
I'm sorry,
I
Hawaii
was-
has 2 towers.
It
Oh,
does.
yeah, didn't see that coming either. I was like, oh, Hawaii's now okay, got it, cool. Hawaii's
Got it.
doing their own thing. Good for them, honestly.
As a Hawaiian, I appreciated that touch.
Yeah,
I did like that touch. But again, that goes to I think our previous point. Sorry, Brie, to jump in. Like I wanted like that history when they left that tidbit that Hawaii is still independent. Like yes, great. How did that happen? Because that's wonderful.
Right. Well, and this comes also to a point, I can't remember if it was with the first or the second book that we talked about, but Megan, you may have been the one that brought it up, how it would have made such a difference if this had been a little bit more of a period piece rather than a modern day.
Yeah.
Give me more of that history stuff and the things that are also happening in the world. Yes, we got a little bit of that with this whole convention and everything that was going on with Beatrice and Louise, Princess Louise of France. Was it France? Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you. And and the whole climate situation. So you got some of that kind of sprinkled in. I have to say, at least for me in this book, there wasn't enough of that because I certainly would have loved and appreciated more. So
I feel like too, I mean, bringing that into play, if it had been more of a period piece, then I think the rivalry aspect of what was portrayed in this novel would have actually been more impactful too, because the Madisons and the Washingtons are like of this very similar high profile, highbrow, which they do say that in this book, obviously. But I feel like if this had happened shortly after the revolution, it would have been like, oh, damn, like that's a name you don't mess with. And right now it's like, oh, it's just some hoity-toity family. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's a solid
I feel like it would just be more powerful.
No, I think you're onto something there.
Also, real quick, back to the French. Does it kill anybody else that the daughter is Louise and the dad is Louis? And I'm just like, what? Like how nepotism right there.
You know,
I think that's one of the few things that hasn't changed from perhaps reality to this alternate reality.
Well, doesn't she talk about him being like disappointed that she was a girl?
A girl.
Does she? I feel like she did talk about that. So that does, yes, that tracks and that makes sense as well.
I just thought it was so funny because every time I was like, okay, we're talking about the king, Louis, and not the princess Louise, who's acting, you know? I'm just like, okay, who's who? I
can't keep it straight. I will say though, too, now that I know you, Bree, listened to this audiobook. Emily listened. Megan, did you read or did you listen?
I read.
Okay.
I got the books. I got to read the books. I'm not wasting the credit on that.
No. Hey, no judgment. No judgment. And
All good.
that's fine. That's totally fine. I'm curious, Bree and Emily, to hear your thoughts on the narrator, because I actually think she does an okay job. Like, Bree seems to.
Oh, I was gonna say Bree's like dying.
Bree's
like,
looking like
hold
she's
on.
having some thoughts.
Like, hold my microphone.
Oh, well, I did that because I thought Kai was about to growl. My face was for what you were saying, but I was like, oh, mute, because I thought he was about to growl.
Wait, did you ever play us from last episode the Himari voice? I think you were going to, and then you never did.
No. I don't know if we can break it out right now. Maybe I am drinking wine tonight, so give me a little bit if it's possible.
Later in the episode, we might get.
Well, I'm gonna let you take that one to start.
So, okay, thanks. I liked the narrator in this. I'm gonna be honest. I do like the audio narrator on the audiobook. This, I find that, or I have found that some books for me are better as eyeball books and some are better as audiobooks. And this series, because I read the first one on my Kindle and then I did the audiobook for book 2 and book 3, and I find I am more engaged for this series as an audiobook.
Yeah.
Right. I think I mentioned in the last episode, like, on the same token, I have another audiobook that I had to DNF because I think it's going to be better as an eyeball book and I have to go purchase it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So for this series, I really like the narrator. It is highly entertaining. I think that's been like the common theme throughout, whether it's a CW series like in the making, or for me, I listen to this like while I'm doing just tasks at work that need kind of background noise, and I put on the audiobook, and it's a great entertaining way to go through Excel spreadsheets, honestly, for that. But not all books work that way, right? Other books you might need to focus on the audiobook a little bit more, or as I said, like, others need to be read like physical copies. I have really enjoyed the audiobook as just an entertaining, call it CW for Audible. But
yes.
There you go.
I kind of treated it like a guilty pleasure TV show, but not on TV, like in my headphones.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it.
I'm pretty similar to that. So this is one of the like rare audiobooks that I can have going on. So I will say, when I work, I like to have background noise, but I normally play music. That's normally what's going on in the background, like either in the room I'm in or even like in a room adjacent to me, so that I like to have some noise in the background. I am one of those people that I can't often, well, because I read more than I audiobook, I can't always have an audiobook on while I'm working, because I either can't figure out what I'm doing work-wise, or I can't understand what's going on in the book. And
Fair.
This one is kind of like a guilty pleasure, like Emily said, where I can have it and it's easy to follow along and enjoy and be entertained while I'm working at the same time. So I do appreciate that aspect too. And it kind of, I don't know, switches up. If I am tired of the same playlist over and over again, it's nice to have something else to tune in. I don't dislike the narrator. I actually think she does a really good job. I think my eye rolls come more from the dialogue that she's forced to read sometimes. And then I'm like, ugh, like, are you kidding me? That's so, but no, like we've talked about, I can be pretty picky with narrators, and I wouldn't be able to do it if I disliked the narrator.
Also true. Yes, that's very true. And I think that's a great segue into some of what happens in this book, because you're talking about the dialogue right away. I mean, let's just talk about Jeff's groveling, his lack of personality still, right? Like the going back and forth. And still somehow Ethan was nowhere to be found. Like,
I'm really confused by that decision. Like, as in, I would love to be able to talk to her, and it does make me curious for the fourth, I'm not gonna lie. But a part of me is worried that she just, like, wrote him out, and he's just gone.
I'm of the same mind. I'm like, yes, I'm going to carry on, listener, we are going to finish out the series with book 4 next month. And so, like, hopefully Ethan makes an appearance, but I will echo your concern that he may have just gone bye-bye for good.
I feel like that's an insane move, considering what we know about him. Especially, I mean, again, if any of our predictions happen at all, like the fact that, like, he doesn't know his dad, like, I feel like that's a pretty huge storyline to just write off all of a sudden. I mean,
that was at least half of our episode
Yes.
for book 2.
yes.
So
I'm still holding out hope. I'm gonna, like, I'm holding out hope that Ethan, like, comes back from, I don't know, it's the one line abroad mission, that whatever he was doing, that he swoops back in, that somehow he re-enters. Because I'm now realizing, and maybe this is me, that book 3, this is all about, this whole series is about Daphne becoming queen.
Yes.
That's my, like, I am just
pretty
now,
much.
Yeah.
I'm just now reading the tea leaves. Maybe I'm slow on the uptake.
No, I
Like-
think we were all there.
Just that book 4 is going to be Daphne finally getting the crown. And my prediction will be that, is it everything she thought it would be?
So then what are you predicting? Like, Beatrice is just in a lifelong coma? Like, are we turning from CW to just straight soap opera? Like, what's happening?
I
mean,
have
they
to
did
believe
kill off
Beatrice is coming back.
herself.
Well, so before we jump into that, listener, what Megan is talking about, in case you didn't
sorry.
read the book. No, you're good. We are spoiler friendly, not spoiler free. So we got to spell this out. I will give this, it was a decent cliffhanger. It was a decent cliffhanger of an ending for a book. So, listener, Beatrice and Teddy get into an argument, and then she goes after him, and in the process of going after him, gets in this life-altering car accident. She's in a coma, obviously very, like, beaten up, broken up after this car accident. Sam has run off to Hawaii with Marshall, and
I mean,
now
this
we have
is
Jefferson.
the OC. Like, it is the OC, 100%, which I will say is one of my all-time favorite shows. All-time favorites. Like, I literally own it on DVD, so if, like, technology ever in streaming goes out, I can still play it. Like,
See, you were an OC girl. I was a One Tree Hill girl.
I was both. That was my
wasn't.
every afternoon I watched when I didn't
wasn't.
work.
But I'm
I
gonna
watched
say
the
I'm
OC
here.
One Tree Hill.
No.
Even if it's not a comeback, though, I will say that I am here for Adam Brody's moment that he's having right now, and I'm happy about it.
We
Very,
stand
very
for
happy about
Seth on this podcast. Seth Cohen, all the way.
There you go. Go ahead, Emily.
Jump back. No. That was a good setup, Jordan, because I think for listeners, Megan, I'm going to jump back to your question, though, on my thoughts on, like, Beatrice. I don't exactly know how this, like, cookie crumb is going to follow, but I think there's going to be something where Beatrice needs to have time to rehabilitate and she will be okay. She won't be, like, gone, but she will need time to get back into queenly duties in some capacity. And Jeff is going to be main stage. And I have flat water that's more sparkling than he is. Go ahead.
Heard that. So the next question, because I'm assuming based off of the way that we've seen other things play out, does then Jefferson and Daphne have to get married? Are we going to see that wedding happen?
So here's where I could see perhaps some redemption in the story, is that if they are being forced to get married, and I use forced lightly because like they do care about each other, and Daphne's wanted this since she was 2, apparently. But if Ethan were to enter the story again, right at the moment that they are engaged or planning their wedding or like are being quote forced, not that it's really forced, but that they're like on this path, and then Ethan comes in from wherever he was abroad doing whatever he was doing abroad and professes his love, and like that I could see.
He just at least deserved a very honorable exit the way that Connor got one. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Okay, so now next question.
Yeah,
Ethan comes back. Who is he professing his love to? Because I feel like after the end of the second book, he did have true feelings for Nina. So where are we standing there? It was Daphne that was like, "Oh, I love you," and he was like, "I don't know, girl. I got someone else now."
Or is it going to be someone he meets abroad?
True.
Will he meet Hilmari?
I was about to say, is he gonna get with Hilmari
and come
back?
Do you
think he's in Japan right now? I don't know. I was thinking like a humanitarian effort in like Uganda. That's where I picture Ethan right now.
He's probably like, "F this, I'm out. I'm going."
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Okay, I will say, and I know I have spent, this is now the 3rd episode, like bashing on the flatness of Jefferson, and I do stand by like his lack.
He is worthy of every moment of the bashing.
I stand by that. I will give him the smallest bone, okay? The smallest bone that he came through for me as a real human momentarily when Daphne like confessed everything at the end to him about her title and everything, and his response to her of, "You should have just told me and we were together and dating and you shouldn't have lied and I could have helped and I would have been there for you. None of that matters, but since you lied, I'm out."
Yeah.
And that I was like, all right.
Snaps to Jefferson.
Okay, so on the one hand, you're throwing him a bone and being like, "Yes, good job, snaps." And then on the other hand, you're a little bit like, "Where was this coming from?" Awesome, cool, great.
Right.
Glad you decided to finally jump on board.
Like, shining moment, but let's keep him going. If this is a new Jefferson, we'll see.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yes, Megan.
Okay. I'm just like, now that, see, this is this fun thing that happens to me every now and then where like all of a sudden now I start seeing like a lot of plot holes or a lot of things that I'm like, this could have been figured out because Jefferson dated Nina, who has no title, who has nothing. So like, why couldn't Daphne think that would be okay for her?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Agreed. Let's also then bring in her mom and dad and all of the insecurities that they have infested her with. I don't know a better term to use here because it's always been about the titles. It's always been about what you're striving towards, what you're working towards. And so I can kind of see, especially before the prefrontal cortex is completely formed and developed, I can see how you would be like, "Oh, no, he wouldn't want me. He wouldn't want this." But to your point, yeah, that was, and to Jefferson's point, in that conversation with her, I think he said something to the effect of, "That never mattered to me. That wasn't important to me."
Right.
Yes, Brie. I love her raising.
While we're on the topic of Daphne and Jefferson, I need to pose the question of how do we all feel about the fake pregnancy?
That was real gross. That was real
gross.
Just
sheer desperation. That was 100% desperation.
Desperation, and I don't like it as a part of the story.
It made my skin crawl. Like I'm gonna like that. I was kind of starting to root for Daphne a little bit when she and Nina were friends, and Nina took her shopping, and there was like, it's like, ooh, okay,
we're gonna talk about Gabriella too.
We're turning over a new leaf. Like she and Nina are bonding over this anti-Gabriella club, and I was there for it. And then the fake pregnancy came in, and I was like, girl, you are first Hilmari, then this. You lie to Jefferson. I know he's a piece of cardboard, but that's fine. And like I was not there.
So I was listening to the audiobook, obviously, and mind you, Mark had already finished, by the way, like he's finished the entire series. So like he knew where I was as I was like listening to all of this and whatnot. And I think I like had an actual like physical reaction because I didn't have headphones in or anything like that. He was upstairs. I was down in the kitchen doing dishes or something. I can't remember exactly what I was doing. And I think I was like, no, tell me this isn't happening. No, why? And he just comes downstairs and he's like, Daphne's pregnant, huh?
Like,
I know. Thumbs down. Major thumbs down. I was like, why?
What gets me though, or I don't know. I just like obviously we know that Daphne's whole existence is just to scheme her way to the top. But I just like she's nonstop always scheming. And I just hate that this is part of this grandiose scheme that she has to entrap Jefferson and weasel her way into the royal family like for good. But I just don't understand how like you can constantly live in a world where all you're doing is playing chess, to like go back to your point, Emily. Like
It's exhausting.
you're never a real person if that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
And I just can't fathom living like that.
No.
I have a mini chaos question, and it may not be too chaotic, but we're going to throw it out there.
Let's do it.
Because Daphne's like prime character moment, Megan, what you were talking about is ambition. I think we can all agree that that's her big driver. So is ambition a character's greatest strength or their slowest form of self-destruction?
I would say that it depends on the motivation of the ambition, right? Is it pride? Is it selfish gain? Is it validation? Is it approval? Because I not to go too far off on a tangent for me, but where I can certainly relate to Daphne a lot in this season of my life is the approval seeking, the validation and the affirmation. I had a really, really challenging week at work, right? And I'm just not syncing up super well with my manager, right? Which led actually to like a one-on-one meeting with me in tears in front of her, and it was completely 100% embarrassing, right? And I realize it's because of this approval seeking, the ambitious nature that I have. The good intentions are there and they're good, but yeah, sometimes in the moment taking a step back and asking yourself, well, what is my motivation, right? And Daphne seems to be learning not as quickly as I might like her to. And then, we're talking about how like these characters, they learn something, they get maybe 1-2 steps forward, and then it's like 3 steps back. I don't know. So it to me, in my opinion, to answer that question, it depends on the motivation.
That's a good point. Bree, Megan, what do you guys think?
And what I have read recently, I do feel like my characters have had the ambition that has slowly led to self-destruction. Like every intention is meant well, it's fulfilled to their ability, and yet it seems like every step that they have taken to meet that intention or meet that goal has ended up in like slow self-destruction getting there. I think we talked about this on our last episode, but like Demon Copperhead, I feel like is a very good book to show that, where it's, a person against all odds, so already ambitious to like beat these odds and like be a better person and have a different life than what everyone has kind of pushed on them. And yet they end up unfortunately falling into the same cycle that the rest of the community has fallen into. So it's like this, yeah, this very slow path of you have the drive, you have the motivation, and yet you're still kind of finding yourself slipping.
That's a good way to put it.
I would say it might be a mixture of both for me, in my opinion. I do think that like reasoning is definitely a factor, but I also wonder from just a literature standpoint if like the genre often determines whether or not ambition is like the destruction and the downfall of a character or what helps them, reach whatever their goal is. So like just for an example, because I think Megan like gave really good context with Demon Copperhead. On the flip side, I would pull in like potential fantasy series where if you look at a lot of main characters in a fantasy series, I think ambition is often a part of who they are, but the goals are so different. So I think when it comes to just literature, like the genre itself can determine whether or not which way ambition sides.
I think that's a great point, Brie, because for me, on this one, I think the pregnancy, when she like faked the pregnancy, that was the critical turning point for me of this being, of Daphne's ambition being her like slow form of self-destruction. I was like, this is it. You are on a path now of no redemption, in my opinion, right? That you have chosen, you were at a fork in the road, and all of your past transgressions in the name of ambition could have been, Jordan, to your point, like chalked up to a motivation or something else, driving that. Not that they were great, but it could have been talked through, reasoned with. The minute she made that decision, for me, I was like, you've chosen the self-destruction ambition path.
Well, and it seemed like the way that Katharine McGee wrote it too, from Daphne's perspective, she seemed to acknowledge that was a path of no return.
Yeah. Like it's a
Daphne kind of, took a very calculated risk, and she knew she was taking a calculated risk. So, but was she also desperate enough to do what she did? Yes, she absolutely was. So she did.
For someone who has been so calculated, though, for the most of these books, despite the fact that this one, she definitely wasn't, as we mentioned, because Gabriella was 2 steps ahead, if not more, the entire time. But for someone who has lived her life so calculated and planned every step and tried to be ahead of everybody to have the news come out first, have the narrative be completely controlled by her, this is a step that like is completely chaotic and you have no control over it. It's not calculated at all. Like she's totally losing her grip on everything.
She took the step into Unhinged, right?
100%.
That's where it's, yep. And I don't know. It'll be interesting to see book 4 and how it comes back from that.
Yeah, it's a total Hail Mary move, which is, I kind of like not sneakily, because I'm supposed to be reading it. I've already read like the first 3 pages of book 4, and it'll come back. It'll come back together.
Oh, for sure. I'm yep.
In the first like 3 pages, you already know there's going to be a lot of problems.
Oh, 100%. Well, so should we kind of segue and talk for a moment about Gabriella then too? Because I don't feel like we've talked enough or we've talked about her as this kind of rival that unifies Nina and Daphne a little bit, but discussing her entrance into the world and discussing kind of her role.
Can I make a comment just real quick?
Do it.
Just when she's like, when she, she confronts Daphne and they're all out after Daphne realizes like Gabriella didn't do what she was gonna do, and Daphne's like, I'm gonna show the whole world that you did coke, and she's like, yeah, go do it. My dad does it.
The dealer's my friend. Like, we're good.
Like, go for it. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
What?
That is absolutely some next level stuff. I don't even.
Well,
yeah, and that was
funny
pretty.
That was like their big moment. Is like, oh my god, she's doing coke. Like, oh my god, that's gonna get her. That's really gonna get her. And like, I feel like that's very minor.
I also, though, like, I think, Megan, to your point, have a little bit that Daphne is supposedly so connected. She knows everybody's appropriate title and everybody's like the knife and the fork and the who sits on the what and all of this like back and forth. If Gabriella's, find it a little hard to believe that she, who knows so many skeletons in so many closets as she's been around these people, that if Gabriella and her dad doing coke and having their coke dealer over for Thanksgiving dinner was like so not a big deal, that Daphne wouldn't have, like, it wasn't more well known.
Right. And she's got the news in the back pocket, but all of a sudden his family, like, well, they know the owner. I'm like, you didn't know any of that?
I find that hard to believe from a character standpoint.
I would agree. I can understand where you guys are coming from with that.
I will say, though, I did make a note that Gabriella at the tailgate at the very beginning, or like towards the beginning of the book, I was really proud of Nina because she like came back to Gabriella, and we've seen her in every book. She has this moment where she's facing, I'll call it her bully or someone's like it was Daphne previously.
Fine. She really does.
Like came back, and I was like, yes, Nina, go book 3 and you got it. And then that was a good Nina scene.
It was. It absolutely.
It just reminds me a lot of like any movie, and like Princess Diaries, where there's always the mean girl, and you're like, well, you know what? Stuck on this or something like. I'm just like, this is not like I know this is purely for entertainment. I feel like you guys know where I stand on these books. Come on.
Megan says, do I even have to explain at this point? Honestly.
At this point, listener, whoever you are out there, you know where I stand. This is just so minor league compared to a lot of other things.
Well, and it definitely is left. I mean, she's got to be around for our final book.
Yeah.
I have to believe, I mean, I will be interested to see, I think, how all of that ends.
I have to apologize, but it's probably not the direction you wanted to go when you brought up Gabriella, but like,
no, you're fine. No need to apologize at all. She's this real kind of weird fixture that gets brought into this book, right? Because she isn't in books 1 and 2. And so now all of a sudden then I would have thought personally that she would have gone even harder after Prince Jefferson, right? And there were moments where it sort of seemed like she was. And now as I'm talking to you ladies about it and as I'm reflecting back on it, I'm thinking, I mean, sure, maybe she wants Jeff, but she really gets off on all of these things that she's doing to Nina and Daphne. And so is Jeff the end game for her? Is the title the end game for her the way that it is for Daphne? I don't think so.
No, so Gabriella is back to our CW series. She's that mean girl, and she comes in for like 2 or 3 episodes, and
then they write her off.
And then they write her off, and we never see her again. They might bring her up again, and you're like, oh yeah.
But why was
I think back to Gabrielle from the OC, and she's in like 2 episodes. She causes quite a stir for Ryan and Marissa, and then she just leaves. And we never see her again.
But why was Ethan written off?
Well, we don't know for sure that he was.
I know.
It's a weird move either way that he was just
He was
not
just
there.
Well, I think I was. Did I already say this out loud? I think it's weird going back to Nathan. Nathan. Wow. Going back to Ethan, that Nina doesn't even like mention it. It's like it never happened. She was like, oh yeah, I've had like past boy problems, but like doesn't even say his name, doesn't even reflect on like the relationship they had, however brief it was. It was just like all of a sudden, oh well, now Jefferson might be flirting with me again. Ooh, like
I will say I did not like that for her character either.
no.
Like
No.
I don't in my perception, my interpretation of this, like that is so not who Nina's character is, to be the one that flips back and forth with the same boy every single time. And the second she was like, and then he looked so good in his shirt, and when I looked at him, like my skin tingles, and I was just like, no, please.
Oh,
I'm sorry. That might have been a direct quote. It might have been.
I don't know if it was or not. Maybe.
But then her internal dialogue the whole time is like, I shouldn't be looking at him like this. I shouldn't care about this. It's like, well, bitch, you do. So just like stop.
Well, and then Katharine McGee, the author, right? She brings back the triangle that is Daphne, Nina, and Jeff. And I don't know about any of you, but I did kind of have a little bit of a moment where I was like, weren't we past this? Like,
that's what I'm talking about. It's very
why?
redundant.
It is.
Question for the group.
Oh, is this our chaotic question number 2?
Mini chaos question number 2.
Okay.
Do authors owe their readers sequels? Or can they walk away from a series at any time?
I mean, they wrote it. Like, they don't, I don't know. I don't think that they necessarily owe anyone anything. And I understand, Sarah J. Maas, at the same time, I'm looking at you and I just want book 6 of ACOTAR. That's all I want in my life. And then I'll be a happy camper. But I just, yeah, I guess it's up to them because it's their creative baby. But I also, I don't know. I feel very entitled to things as well.
I mean, I feel like the same thing can be said about like movies too. Like sometimes it's just better to walk away. Like the first one was a hit, awesome. You sell all the tickets, you sell all the books, whatever. And then I think you should just walk out while you're still up. You know, ride the high and then leave it alone. Because usually the second book or the second movie is never as good as the first.
Listen, the Fast and Furious series should have ended with Paul Walker's death.
The Fast and Furious series should have ended at the Fast and Furious and then not gone like Tokyo Drift and Cool Guy Car and Monster Truck and like who that should have never been a thing.
No.
Megan, when you were saying that, the 2 series that came to mind to me were Fast and Furious and Transformers.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. I haven't even seen the other Transformers. But listen, I walked out of Furious 7 in tears.
I would have never gone to Furious 7.
Vin Diesel went one way.
Oh,
Paul
that got
Walker went another. And I was done. And I remember
emotional for other reasons, not because
obviously, but I distinctly remember walking out of that movie theater with my girlfriend and I said, that's it. That has to be it.
And then the next summer they're like, and another one.
And another one. I honestly have not watched any of them since.
Yeah.
In protest.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. But
I don't have much to contribute to that other than that. No, I don't think authors owe their readers a sequel, even if they leave it on some sort of cliffhanger. Yeah. And I say that as a reader, and like I can be devastated about it, and I definitely am in the camp where it ends on a cliffhanger, and even if you know there's another one coming, you're like, gosh, 2 years, 3 years from now, like, can you believe it? But no, I don't think an author owes them. If at the end of the day, like, even if, let's just say you planned out a series and you did book 1 and even if book 1 was a success, but then you're like, man, I really thought I had somewhere to go. Book 2 and 3, well, guaranteed. If you signed a contract, I don't really know what to tell you. Like, you got to deliver that. So, you know,
There's
you got a
that.
whole team though,
Yeah.
and hopefully too, like you can learn from your readers, which I think is possible. It was interesting in the last, was it the last one? In the most recent author conversation that was published on the podcast, the author JL, I was talking to her, and she brought up how the series changed based on the readers specifically, and like readers falling in love with a certain character, and how she had totally planned to like unalive that character and then didn't because of readers. And so I think too, like, you know, there's a lot of potential for authors. I'm not saying you always should do that because, you know, not all readers are writers. Some of us just read. But like you can listen to your readers if that's the case, but I don't think authors owe their readers, as maybe controversial as that might be for some people.
So I guess, Emily, do you think that this series could have, would have, should have been done in one book?
I think it should have ended after book 2.
Oh,
My
okay.
opinion.
Okay.
But it could have been like this duology situation.
A duology situation and ended after book 2. Because I think in this book 3, we've gone backwards. It felt very similar to the general plot of book 1, where we end with the king is in the hospital. We end this with Beatrice is in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
We are back to the Nina, Daphne, Jeff situation with a triangle. Sam has run off and done something crazy. It felt very repetitive of book 1. So if it were up to me, not that it is, like I would have ended it after book 2 and done a duology. But I think what we've talked about before on making this more of a period piece, it could have been a longer series as a period piece, like with more of the historical element in it.
You know what you could have done too as a period piece is like you could have done spin-offs with it and then jumped ahead in time and new generations and all of that if it had actually started back post-Revolutionary War.
And done like single, and that would have been really interesting and gone into different historical moments.
I've never read Bridgerton, but is that kind of the general vibe? Because I know like eventually each character kind of gets like their own spotlight. Is that?
Yes. I mean, yes and no. It is kind of going in that general direction, like Bree is talking about. I haven't read enough of the books. In fact, actually, I need to finish this last season before the next season comes out. But yeah, Bridgerton definitely, at least for me, scratches that itch a lot more as far as the historical, the period piece of it. I have to agree that bringing in that element would have made such a difference.
Was it ever explained, and I've either just missed it or forgotten, like why they had George Washington become king after the Revolutionary War? Because that is like quite literally one of the like main points of the Revolutionary War and like the Declaration of Independence.
I think it was briefly mentioned, and it might have even been like at the very beginning, but it basically sounded like George Washington led the people through the war. They won, or, you know, obviously our outcome happened. And then it was up to the people. They wanted a king.
Yeah.
So they like voted to have a king.
They like asked him like very specifically to be our next king.
Yes. Which then, again, plot holes. Why did we have a Revolutionary War just to go back to a king? What kind of baloney is this?
But that also was a genuine conversation that our forefathers and previous generations that were there and present had, right? They were establishing a democracy, but they didn't know that that's what they were establishing. So could they have a monarchy that looked different from
What they were
England's
living in.
monarchy at the time? Yes,
Question.
you may ask another question.
Thank you. This has less to do with like the democracy and the politics, and more to do with, do we think that everyone that came over to America all had accents and then just slowly they dissipated? Because I'm picturing, you know, we've got 13 colonies and everyone's still like, "Oi, mate," you know, things like that. What do we think?
That's such an interesting question.
I think there were
That's my chaos question.
there were very different dialogues, because I think if you go back like and look at historical documents at the time, even within English, and I'm sure other languages too, there was different spellings of the same word that was more phonetic or more phonetic based on the region that you were from or in, or where that document was from. So I think, yes, it was just different dialogue. We can all agree that I think more historical, like,
Context.
and maybe the four of us are just more of the like historical fiction fan club, like spectrum, right, of things. But I think we've all been in violent agreement on all these episodes for the series that we wanted the historical piece coming forward.
Yes.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Totally random tangent, but just as we were talking about this, if y'all ever want to read a really sad, traumatizing, but short book about Jamestown, To the Bone by Elena Bruzas, and I'm sorry if I butchered that last name, To the Bone, and then you will probably go down like a Google rabbit hole like I did after you read it. And if you do read it, we should talk, because I know a little bit about the backstory of that book and it is so interesting. But you know, check some trigger warnings, because it is like it's pretty rough, but would recommend.
Okay.
Good to know. I don't feel like we talked a whole lot about the convention or Louise as much. We kind of touched a little bit on it. I loved their friendship. I thought that their friendship, Beatrice and Louise, and then I thought that obviously it went through this really, you know, sort of challenging situation. Did anybody else feel like Luis and Beatrice got real close real quick? All of the sudden, Luis wants Beatrice to go with her to see her ailing father. Not that I don't appreciate that, because there is such a thing as trauma bonding, listener, and we do know that. But I thought it was very interesting and curious that Luis picked Beatrice for that, and yet at the same time it was a bonding kind of thing for them. And then she like votes against her at the convention, and then like does this whole thing to try to change it up, and I don't know. I thought that was curious.
I thought it was a lot. Like you're saying, Jordan, when she goes back, I did though appreciate that redemption arc a bit of having to vote against her in the convention, but then kind of Beatrice calling her out on it a little bit, and then she comes back at the dinner and makes it right, if you will.
Right.
To the best of her ability.
Yes.
I liked that piece of the story for sure, but I agree with you, Jordan. I felt like their very close friendship was a bit hasty. And for them to be in the positions of power that they are in, I would think you would be a little bit more apprehensive of people just in general, and not quite as trusting or personal. I get that a lot of that too is like Beatrice doesn't really have any female friends for her to turn to. She doesn't have a Nina to Sam, all of that. But it definitely felt a bit rushed. But my mind circles that back to Emily's comment of this probably could have been 2 books, and feel like we're stretching it for the CW series because we want it to be 4 seasons.
I'm waiting for Ethan. That's my book 4 prediction. I think we can go to predictions. Ethan, come back for book 4 and just stir the whole pot.
Please.
Please.
Do it.
Thank you.
Do it. Because
and then I think I need Ethan and Nina back together. That's where I want that to go. Everyone else I don't really care about.
I would still be okay with Ethan Daphne. I know that was like, but that would be another interesting. I don't know how she does that now though with the fake pregnancy thing. I think that relationship ship has sailed.
What do we think about Teddy and Beatrix now though?
Boring.
Really? And I feel like Teddy is just proving himself to be a little more wishy-washy than I thought. Like I thought he was going to be like a good head on his shoulders, pretty headstrong, and then the fact that I don't even think we talked about it, but he had to leave for several days to go back to his family and didn't really communicate with Beatrice and kind of left her standing at the convention that they were at, and it just felt very I'm questioning everything and I don't know where to go, so I'm just going to go home. And it just felt, I don't know, I wish he would have been more headstrong about his feelings with her and more upfront, and at least stayed at the convention, even if he didn't have a big role because he's just the queen's sidekick pretty much. But I feel like that could have played out a lot better and made me dislike him a little bit.
Well, and the whole he was ready to renounce his title, and he, I feel like he put a lot of expectation and he put a lot of pressure on Beatrice too when he's tell them to give me a role, give me something to do, here's how I can help. And on one hand, I absolutely get it and understand that. I think I wrote in my notes it felt a little Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip type situation, right? Yes, he's living off of her light. He's living in her shadow, so to speak. But at the same time, that is you have to know that's the job and that's your place.
Yep.
That is what you signed up for. So literally. There's that. And then maybe I read over it, but I felt like he didn't communicate really well to Beatrice. And maybe that was just my I felt like he was more here's my bold gesture, read my mind a little bit.
He didn't communicate how he was feeling with it. It was very just, straightforward, here's what we can do. And he thought he was being helpful. He thought that he was being useful, but was it really? And then he's really just feeling emasculated, and he's feeling like he doesn't know his place or have his place, but he's also not talking about that and is not saying that.
Yeah, I mean, he ran away. He didn't. He literally left.
Call it as it is.
He ran away.
Franklin stuck around. The dog stuck around.
Of course, because dogs are loyal.
And they're the absolute best.
Yeah,
I feel like collectively this group could all benefit from therapy. And that we
or the book.
Look. I mean, I
could use therapy too.
You all know how I feel about therapy. I love it.
I don't really judge on that one till our get to know you episode.
But there we go.
I think I've already said it on the podcast, so it's already out there. And that's, but no, I think they all should probably go to a bit of therapy,
or even just a good communication workship.
There you go.
You're at a convention. I'm sure you've got someone on deck hired anyway. I will sit down and talk about it.
I'm with you, because for me, if you talk about tropes or other books, right? The miscommunication trope or plot summary or plot line, however you want to call it, is my biggest pet peeve. That's just me as a reader. My personal preference, when it's all about miscommunication, I can't stand it. Because Megan, I'm with you. I'm just get in a room. Talk it out.
Well, and this is where Teddy and Beatrice could have taken a page out of Marshall and Sam's book, because Marshall and Sam were actually communicating about these things and talking.
Our party children have the most healthy relationship.
They have risen.
Now, let's be clear, they could still benefit from that workshop or from therapy.
Yes.
But
true.
Agreed. Yes.
Are they the only people learning from their mistakes and then just like
this is right? Sam and Marshall for me forever. That's like,
there you go.
Mic drop.
Yeah. I think we touched on all of the highlights. I am trying to make sure that I didn't miss anything, but you know what? If I did, listener, I'm not going to lie, it probably really wasn't as pertinent to the story. Or
knowing the cycle of this book, it might come around.
We'll hit it book 4. We'll hit it for book 4.
That, I think, gives us a full circle episode.
Yes.
Yes. Listener, if you can believe it, we are wrapping up this series. We have one more book, which is American Royals 4, Reign, and that will be coming to you in November. The holidays are already rapidly coming, which is wild and crazy.
So speaking of that, be sure to sign up for our newsletter, because we may have something to help you out coming soon for your holiday shopping for all the book lovers, wine lovers, cocktail, mocktail, friends, and family in your life. Go to our website, narrativesandnightcaps.com, and you can sign up for the newsletter there for that. And we may have a special treat for you for the holiday season on our Instagram accounts. So be sure to follow the pod at Narratives and Nightcaps.
Yes, please rate, review, subscribe, follow us. And then you can also hop over on Instagram and follow me, Jordan, at Cozy Reads and Sips.
And you can find me, Emily, at Bookstop
Oh, so much fun, ladies. Until next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening. The Narratives and Nightcaps podcast is a production of The Craft Co., with intro music created by Remington Haynes.
Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow at Narratives and Nightcaps on Instagram, or visit our website, narrativesandnightcaps.com.
Sign up for our newsletter to always know what we're reading next, which authors are joining us on the show, and for extra bookish and beverage info.
Connect with our additional co-hosts, Jordan and Emily, as well.
You can find me on Instagram at Cozy Reads and Sips.
And you can find me on Instagram at Bookstop.
Cheers! Cheers.